Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the brand new DC Collectibles Arkham Origins, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva 3-pack. Spot just got this at his local comic book store and features 3 figures packaged inside. Warning, choking hazards, small parts, not for children under 3 years of age. Is recommended for ages 14 and up. The big selling draw for this, for me at least, is the fact that you get a Harleen Quinzel, which you don't really get a lot of Harleen Quinzels. You always get a Harley Quinn, but you never kind of get her former self. And all the more reason to pick up this set. Of course, nothing towards Executioner or Lady Shiva. It's nice that we get those figures as well. Spin around the back of the package. Not even so much a read-up, but you have the figures in this line up at the top, and then you have collect them all with other figures featured down below. There's also a 3-pack featuring a Red Hood, and I believe that's a Deathstroke. I want to get that in hand as well at some point too. But then, of course, some other figures as well, most of which we've had a look at. There might be a couple of ones that we didn't. I don't think I've looked at Arkham Origins, Killer Croc, or Anarchy, or Firefly, actually, for that matter. So I want to get my hands on those at some point as well. That being said, though, Spot's going to take a break. I'm going to get these 3 figures out of packaging. And when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Batman Arkham Origins, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, Electrocutioner, and Lady Shiva. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. In some excruciating effort to get these figures to stand on this backdrop, I finally just gave up. So we're going to have a look at these figures individually. Let's first have a look at Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva's a great figure. Probably not my favorite from this set. I feel like I gravitate a little bit more towards Harleen Quinzel over there. But she's still a really outstanding figure. Her outfit is primarily black, with some nice accents here of red. The red actually pops quite nicely, especially areas running down the sides of her leg. And of course the front here, where she's got these little fabric, little strips coming down the middle area from her belt. As for her face, let's have a look at her face here. The face is good. It's a little on the pale side, but even overlooking that, the face sculpt is pretty good. I especially, for some reason, really like her mouth. She's got a good sculpt on her mouth. The eyes are good. They've got a little bit of outlining around there, possibly like an eyeliner there. The eyebrows are nice and clean. The face is very clean. Just, if anything, I would say a little on the pale side. She does come with a weapon, or an accessory in this case is her weapon, and that is a sheath complete with a retractable katana blade. Both the handle of the blade as well as the sheath itself are adorned in black with the trimming there of the red, and some nice popping of the gold around the handle top as well. So really like that. She does hold the sword and doesn't really hold it the greatest because she has got very small hands. You have to really fight it to get into her hand. But once in hand, she seems to hold it just fine. As for the sheath, there really isn't a place for the sheath unless you try to wedge it into her more flat hand that she's got on the side. But I suppose you could bring the sheath a little further up her hand and rotate, rotate the hand to almost indicate, or to have it look as if she's unsheathing the sword. Kind of bring the arm out here for that. Kind of twist it, and this is something afterthought that Spot was thinking of, but you could kind of pretend as if you probably do a better job than me, but you could probably kind of pretend that she is unsheathing her sword. It may be a potential look for her, because again, like, there's no place where you can hold the sheath. There's no place where it would attach to the figure itself. So let's go ahead and take these, just take this out of her hand. I'm a little on the concerned side. Let's say concerned that the blade is very unforgivingly non-flexible. It's thin plastic, and I don't feel like there's a lot of give to it. So be warned, be careful that that doesn't actually break on you. For Lady Shiva's posability, let's bring the camera back a little bit. Not so close there, Spot. The head is on a ball joint. I like that. Hinged shoulders. They're not the perfect arms to be hinging out. In fact, they hit, see there's a little lip right at the top there of her shoulder, where if you have her arms straight, it finishes off the jacket. It gives her a very square cut of the jacket. The downside though is bringing the arms out. That very same area I like ends up hitting against the jacket itself and the torso, preventing the arms from going any further out than that. Sure, the arms can rotate all the way around, so at least that's a saving grace there. Just a rotation in the bicep, a bend in the elbow, and a rotation in not so much the hand, but the forearm area. The legs, unfortunately, a little bit more on the limited side. They only hinge forward and back. There's no split cut. You can't widen the legs. They only go forward and back. She does have a bend, a single bend in the knee, and a rotation in the boot. And there is Lady Shiva. Great figure. Again, no qualms about the figure at all, other than I can't really get them to stand. Display stands would have been nice. Of course, there is the holes on the undersides of the feet, but unfortunately, they don't come with display stands. So what I might just do is lay Lady Shiva down, kind of just where we started this end of the review. Moving along to Executioner. Okay, again, kind of just moving towards Harleen, because I really think she, nothing against these figures, but I feel like she's the star of this set. Taking nothing away from Lady Shiva, certainly not taking anything away from Executioner. He's a great looking figure. He is just adorned in these wires. He has wires running from his arms down to the arm gauntlets areas here. He has wires running down to his legs. Some of them are looser than others, like these ones here are free-floating wires, where other ones appear like they've been sculpted into the leg. So like these little wires here are all sculpted into the torso and the plastic itself. These ones are also loose, and you'll find that these disconnect. There is just a little slot right there that these wires just sit in. They're not really supposed to peg into place, and there's a reason for that. But before we do that, let's have a look at his face. His face mirrors almost that of like a Two-Face, heavily scarred on the one side there. He also comes across he reads to me like a Negan almost from Walking Dead. That's the vibe I kind of get when I look at Executioner here. Primarily his outfit is much like Shiva's, very black, but then he's got little areas of almost like a darker olive green, offsetting the pant leg area where his knee guards are attached. And of course he's got this big red V on the front here. Carries over to the shoulder area as well. There's the back of him. Again, a lot of these wires, and thank goodness they're sculpted in rather than being loose. If these were loose, these would be ripping off very easily. And luckily I can tell you that they're sculpted in. We just want to move the arms out. You can see all the little, I guess these are like little battery packs on the sides of his torso there. Lightning bolt indicators. A great figure, really, no issues at all with the figure. He's a little on the big and chunky side. It does limit, like in posability wise, he doesn't really have a lot of posability to really speak of, but he makes up for it in presence. He does have a couple of interchangeable hands. Currently, as you see, his hands are closed, molded shut, but the interchangeable hands, however, are completely open. If you want to have him grasping, or I kind of usually prefer the hands to be more open myself. And to accommodate that, just make sure you take the tube completely out, because you don't want to be pulling on it, because you want to be wiggling this right off the ball joint, or not even so much a ball joint, but a peg joint. Wiggle the hand back on, like that. And that same area where the tubes attached before can attach again into those hands. Now you've got open hands rather than a closed fist. I prefer this method or this look myself more so than the closed fist, but again, you can display these any which way that you want. One of my favorite aspects of Executioner though, really head to toe, he's a great figure, but the sculpt on that scar is outstanding. I love that. Very much reading a Negan look to him. For your posability, Executioner does have a ball joint in the head. Nice motion and movement on his head. The shoulders hinge out. Unlike Lady Shiva, the arms move out very easily, no issues there. Rotation is that's where you become a little bit more difficult. The arms, that is. They rotate all the way around, but you have to make sure that they're not hitting the top torso of his jacket. He does have a hinge in the elbow, as well as a rotation on the individual hands. And luckily, because those tubes aren't attached, if it rotates too much, these get unpulled, all the more better, because if these were attached and were fixed, guaranteed rotating this would pop these right out and probably damage the tubes as well, the hoses, or the wires. So there's Executioner, a great figure. Lady Shiva, a great figure. But then you get to, for me, and I'm going to just, luckily I can get Executioner to stand. The crowning jewel for this set is, my own personal opinion that is the Harleen Quinzel. Because we don't get a lot of Harleen Quinzel figures. In fact, I don't think we get any. A lot of times we'll obviously get ourselves a Harley Quinn, but this is one of the few times we get ourselves a Harleen Quinzel in a DC Direct or DC Collectibles release. She does come with an accessory. She comes with a clipboard. Nothing on the clipboard. But I mean, she could be walking around. You can actually put it in her hand. That's no issue whatsoever. You just got to get it sandwiched into her hand like that. And she can be walking up to the inmates of Arkham Asylum. She has herself what looks to be a sprig of ivy. I believe, or that's holly actually. It looks like a sprig of holly on her jacket. As well as she has her ID badge there. Actually a security pass card. Got a couple of pens in her jacket. Let's have a look at her face. This is probably the best example of a figure that's got glasses where the glasses you can still see the eyes inside. I don't know how many countless times I've seen figures that have a lens for their eyes and it usually distorts their eyes badly, or the glasses. The lenses are nice and clear, almost to the point where I was taking the figure out of packaging and I thought that there was no lens there. I thought this was just an outlined frame and I thought, oh no, that's gonna break. But no, it's actually got a lens. Very nice face as well on Harley Quinn, or Harleen Quinzel. Her hair is back in a bun. Paint's quite clean and quite nice on the hair. It's a nice soft blonde hairstyle there. Again, her jacket, she's got her long white jacket on, nails painted in as well in red. The jacket is more of a soft rubber. Now, when you start moving the jacket too much, at least on my figure, I see a lot of paint build up underneath, or glue, but luckily you're not going to be bringing the jacket out that far anyways. I was just showing you guys. Her skirt is a soft rubber as well, soft rubbery plastic. A little belt buckle there as well. And she's got a pair of tights with red shoes on. They luckily have not given her very thin heels, so it does allow the figure to stand a little bit better. I say that though, and the figure does not stand at all on this backdrop. But I did have her on a flat surface like a bookcase. She stood just fine, but the ever-going problem with this backdrop, it's just too soft. Because it's fabric, sometimes figures don't stand very well on them. For your posability on Harleen Quinzel, her head is on a ball joint. Now, I actually thought her ball joint would have been right at the base of her neck, but no, in fact, the ball joint is actually at the base of her head, where the head attaches to the neck. Shoulders hinge out, no issues there. Full rotation there. A rotation as well in the bicep, a hinge in the elbow, and a rotation in the wrist here, like that. This one, for some reason, a little stiffer than this one. It doesn't appear that she has a waist swivel. Again, that's not really so much of an issue for me. The legs do go forward and back, but you're really limited by the constricted nature of the skirt here. She does have a bend in the knee, and sadly, no foot articulation, which isn't so much of an issue. One thing though, she doesn't have any holes on the undersides of her feet. It would be a harder task, but I guess you could have put holes right on the base of the feet at the front rather than at the back and attached her to a display stand. Wish she had come with holes. I know that's such a little small nitpick, but I wish she had had holes on the undersides of her feet so you could actually put her on a display stand. That's what I probably would have done had that been the case. This is a great set. It's a little bit more expensive because unfortunately all these figures, as you know, DC collectible figures tend to be a little bit more expensive on the market because these figures on their own could go from anywhere from $25 to $28 on their own. As you can then imagine, 3 figures collectively, the set's about $70 to $80. But still, you get 3 great looking figures. The least interesting, and by far that's no real negative nitpick, but just by the nature of the 3 figures, the least interesting is Lady Shiva, but they're still great figures. My favorite, though, being the Harleen Quinzel. Especially if you've got yourself a Joker, it'd be awesome to have him displayed with the original Doctor that was caring for him. These were found at my local comic book stores, so again, check out your local comic book stores if you want to find great items like this. And again, support your local stores as well. They always like that. Today we were having a look at the DC Collectibles. A great set. This was the Batman Arkham Origins set, by the way, that consists of Lady Shiva, Executioner, and Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you next time.